So, welcome back to my channel. Hello. It's me. It's 2020 Andrea. No more 2019. 2020, right here. 2020 vision. Not really, but you know. Today is episode 1 of my new series, Taste It, I'll Make It. You may be asking yourself, what is Taste It, I'll Make It? Or you may be sitting there saying, I don't really care, just get into it, woman. In which case I'm gonna say, hold your horses. I'm gonna explain what the series is. Taste It, I'll Make It is a series that I'm going to be starting today on my channel, where basically I'm making foods that Evan and I have had on our travels. We've tasted it and now I'm gonna make it. Today, for episode 1 of Taste It, I'll Make It, I'm going to be making stroopwafels.
This is a stroopwafel, and it's amazing. The first bite.
Stroopwafel, if you don't know what they are, their name isn't obvious enough or you don't know any Dutch. Stroopwafels are syrup waffles. Stroop means syrup, waffle means waffle. So, stroopwafels are syrup waffles. Typically, can be served in a variety of different ways now. Traditionally, they're just one thin waffle cut in half. You put a little syrup in the middle of this like sugary, caramely goodness in the middle. Or you can jazz it up. You can add some chocolate. You can add some graham crackers. You can add some sprinkles. You can add whatever you want to it. It really doesn't matter. It's your creation. They're like a pretty blank but like delicious. But like they're a canvas that can be built upon or be enjoyed plain. So if you decide to make these yourself, do whatever you want to them. I'm gonna be making them plain, but you know, we may always add chocolate later because let's get started. This is from someone who said that their dad is a baker from Holland. Ooh. So I'm gonna trust theirs. And yeah. Theirs is already dairy free, so it's less of a stretch for me. Oh my gosh, am I starting? Wait, I'm starting with the wrong thing. We're gonna crack 3 eggs. I always crack them in a separate thing because I'm paranoid of shells. They started to whisk them before whisking in the sugar. Where are you going? Sneezing! Oh. I'm leaving that in! Oh. That was almost smart. Wow. Well, you're getting a daily look into how I bake. And I just washed my hands for the appropriate amount of time. Anyway, so we're using coconut sugar, and it is basically the same thing. It comes from a coconut. I don't really know how. It doesn't have any coconut flavor. If you're wondering, if you're like me and have a coconut aversion, it is not. And I've been using it in most baking recipes that I've been doing, where it calls for granulated sugar, and I've been using this instead, and I haven't had any issues. At least I don't think I have. So, yeah, you can use obviously normal sugar. So I just don't. And I already dumped a little in there because I missed, and I'm still missing. This is fun.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
There's sugar all over the place. Okay, great! Alrighty, that's fine. Okay. 1.5 cups of sugar. Now that your kitchen is officially a mess, whisk it together. combine, and then it wants the butter in there. Probably should have melted this. I'm softening the butter. 1 cup of butter. I decided to melt it because I thought it didn't make sense to not. There are small chunks that don't want to cooperate. That's fine. Okay, now what? Add the cinnamon and salt. You add a teaspoon of cinnamon. I'm going to add just like a little bit extra because I really like cinnamon. I don't feel the need to be exact with that. And then a teaspoon of salt. I will be more exact with this. And because I don't want to contaminate the salt, I'm going to use a half teaspoon so that there's no cinnamon in my salt. Alrighty, and we're going to mix. This doesn't feel like liquidy enough, but that's okay. A 1/4 cup. Mom, I know this isn't a liquid measuring cup. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Just ignore me. It's fine. It's fine. My stomach is full. Okie dokie. Okay, so this recipe is actually a little annoying because it calls for a range, like a spectrum of flour. 5.5 to 6 cups. And I don't really know what to do with that, so I'm gonna lowball it. If you're baking and you're using a gluten-free flour in place of regular flour, it has xanthan gum in it, which is like basically like a gluten alternative, because that's the whole thing, is that this doesn't have gluten in it. And the proportions that they use, I learned this on some blog when I was trying to make my pancakes better. The proportions that they use oftentimes are a bit much for a lot of normal baked goods, like pancakes and things like that aren't like breads. So it can absorb a lot more liquid than normal flour can. So I'm going to probably lowball it a little bit because this is not a gluten-free recipe. So that was 1. Count with me, guys. Okay, don't do that. And you may be asking, Andrea, why are you scooping it in? Your cup can clearly reach in there. It can. However, I don't have a scale, and so this is the best way to get a not like overly packed cup where you're adding too much flour to recipes. So, little tip. If you're baking and you don't have a scale, scoop it in slowly, give it a little tap in, whoop, and in you go. That's 2. 3, 4, 5. Okay, and out. So that's 5.5 cups. That's the low side of the spectrum. I'm gonna have flour all over me. That's how I normally look. We fold in the flour. This is... This is coming together, kind of. Okay, so I've efficiently folded the dough together. So I'm hoping that this recipe turns out okay with me adding gluten-free flour and kind of, you know, being an amateur baker at best. I wouldn't even say that. Like, if I was on the Great British Bake Off, I would be voted off the first week. Paul and Mary, just send me home, send me packing, because because look at this mess. Anyways, it smells good. I wish you could smell this, as they always say in cooking shows. I wish you could. I'm just gonna cover it and put it in the fridge. It's what the recipe says to do. I think that helps the dough just not completely lose its shape, and I think it'll make it easier to put onto the waffle iron. I'll be right back. Now, while the dough is chilling in our fridge there, I'm gonna make, start on the syrup. Requires 2 cups of a cane sugar syrup is what the recipe calls for. But I'm gonna make a coconut sugar simple syrup. Woo! I'm going to add 2 cups. I've measured it with a dry measuring cup first, but this was the easiest way to dump it in. 2 cups of sugar to then 1 part water is what the recipe calls for. Yes. Okay, great.
You're doing great.
Yeah, we'll see if I did this right. That's perfect. That's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna let this cool completely. Okay, it's been a minute. This has been cooling in the fridge just while I made the syrup, and then the syrup had to cool, so then I had a snack and chilled for, a second. So I guess without further ado, let's move on to the next part, which is the actual making of the stroopwafel. They do make actual stroopwafel pans. I did not want to buy a stroopwafel pan, mostly because they were kind of expensive compared to, what I'm about to use, which is a waffle cone iron. So this is like what I thought. I was a revolutionary. I found on the internet, I was like, oh, waffle cone irons will be perfect for a stroopwafel because they're basically the same thing somehow. And I thought I was the only person who had ever thought of this, and I was wrong. And I'm a little crushed that I was so wrong. Okay. What they recommend is taking a dough ball like this. I kind of pressed mine down a little bit, and I made it a little bit bigger than they recommended because I want our stroopwafels to just be a little bit bigger, and I hope that this turns out okay. This is a grand experiment. I honestly don't know what to think. Oh, what did I do? This is hilarious. Okay, I kind of want to check it. What? Oh, this is not gonna work. I'm not feeling confident about this whatsoever. Okay. I mean,
that's actually not too bad.
That looks really awful. What are you talking about?
It doesn't look that bad.
Okay, I'm just trying a piece without the syrup. It's hot. I mean, it's fine. I don't know what went wrong. I mean, it tastes pretty good. This with coffee would undoubtedly be good.
Undoubtedly. I'll eat that with tea, like, all the time.
It's good because we're gonna have a lot. Alright, now we're gonna actually try to cut one. And, like, put the syrup in the middle.
Ooh.
Like we're supposed to. Okay, it's separating. And it's like crumbling. crumbling because that's all gluten-free things do. They crumble under the pressure.
Oh, you come on open, babe.
I did.
Wow.
It was not aesthetically pleasing at all.
Put it on there, I guess. That's what it said to do. That's gonna make a mess. This is not very thick. We're gonna try some with the syrup. But it's not bad. It's a little dry.
It does taste kind of like what we had in Parliament, Amsterdam.
I didn't like nail like a caramel. Like I didn't get that in the middle. But I honestly,
This is really good.
I think moral of the story is that these aren't gonna end up looking like stroopwafels, but I'm gonna keep making these because it's gonna take me forever. So I'll see you on the flippity flop. Okay, so here's a little side-by-side comparison. It is a couple days later. Obviously, I feel like you can tell which one's the homemade one, but you know, this is the boxed one, the Dahlmann's, and this is it. It's got kind of some more thick caramel in the middle there, and then this is mine. I did not use a round cutter because I felt that was silly. I stopped cutting them in half like they're supposed to be because they're supposed to be way thinner. Like if you look at them together, they're supposed to be way thinner. And it just was not working. The gluten-free dough was crumbling as most gluten-free things do. So I think they turned out okay. I was a little discouraged at first, but they taste really good. I think I could have added a little bit more of the syrup in the middle, but it was just making a huge mess. So I went a little light-handed, but I think if I had added more and maybe did the dough a little differently, I think we would be really good. So for now, this is a pretty good attempt, but you know, could be better.